Hello, Jimmy here. Just a 5-minute information video on how to put the A10 engine in the BSA A10 frame. Information only pertains to the swinging arm style bike, not the plunger frame. I figured maybe this might be kind of an important video, or somebody might get something out of it, because in the U.S. there's a lot of these A10s that are in various stages of incompleteness at swap meets, and I figured there's other people that are piecing them together like I am. All right, so to put the engine in, I was able to put the engine in completely assembled. Obviously not the carburetor, that was off. You don't want that on. And I did have these upper head steadies removed too, so I didn't have them on. But the rocker box was on, and the rocker box covers were on when I put it in, and I had no problem. I almost didn't even have to pad that. I wasn't close to scratching anything in that area. What I did use was, I did have, a heavy padded envelope that you get from Amazon or UPS, and I laid that right across the bottom frame rails here. To put these engines in, you have to put them in from the right side and pass through to the left side. So you're putting the engine in from the right side of the bike, the timing side you're standing on, when you put the motor in. They're pretty heavy. I feel like it was 100 pounds when I lifted it. So get everything that you need close at hand, because you're going to be balancing the engine at the same time you're going to try to push bolts through to hold the engine on these front generator mounts. And well, they're generator mounts and engine mounts. They double for that. I usually don't use the A10 studs and nuts right away to get everything in situ. I usually find some longer, thinner bolts that'll help pilot into the holes and get everything set up and in place, and then I'll go back and replace it with the original BSA studs and nuts. So the one tricky thing about putting the engine in is, after you set it down into the frame about where it needs, the right side is the last to go in. You start off with your far side, your drive side engine plate, and put that in and put a couple bolts through right there just to hold it in place. It'll be on its own at this point. And then push the engine back a little bit and then drop in the right side one. The right side's a little difficult to get in. You got to get the engine pushed back a little bit, and it fits down into these grooves right there. Now, once you have that in place and it drops down, then you can push the engine forward again. When you push the engine forward, you can put, I used this thin aluminum nail, which worked out really well, and I pushed it into this stud's location there. Once I had that, the engine was pretty well trapped in and wasn't moving around a lot. So I left that in. Once I had that, then I put the original BSA stud in the lower location, and then the upper engine location. And then I went back and I put the front studs in. Keep in mind that the front stud is a little shorter than the bottom stud, I think because the muffler bracket also fits through there. And the bottom stud also has spacers on both sides of the engine plates, so you'll have to get them in there. Don't tighten anything too tight yet. There's no reason for that. You don't want anything in a bind or get trapped or make it more difficult to get some of these other bolts in. So leave them slightly loose. Once you have that, then you're in good shape. Now it's time to deal with the gearbox plates. There's 4 gearbox plates. There's 2 lowers left and right, and then there's 2 uppers left and right. Obviously, you start off with the bottom. Now, the funny thing about this is the left side, upper and lower, both have a kink or an offset in the bend. You can see it on that top, the bend, and you can see it on the lower one. They both go on the left side or drive side of the bike. Start off with the lower brackets, put them in place. Put this lower front stud in, And then you can turn around and put this one in also here. Leave them loose like I said. Once they're in place, then you can turn around and put the gearbox in. Same as the engine, you have to put the gearbox in from the right to the left. Drop the gearbox in. Wiggle this ear down into the plates and put its lower fixing bolt in. At that point, you're almost done. The top plates are really a snap. They go in really easy. The top bolt traps both of them right there, if you can see that. And you have another one over here by what they call the BSA ski jump bracket. That's not really a problem. You could put that on after the ski slope if you want, because that's not a hole there. That's actually a groove. So if you just slacken off those nuts, you could push the ski slope right in. And that's about it. There's 2 holes here that are left unfilled for the moment. Those are for your foot pegs. The bigger hole is the rod that goes through left side foot peg and right side foot peg, and the back one is actually like a locating peg. So like when you stand on your pegs, they won't rotate. So that gets done later. And that's about it. I guess the next thing is to set up the clutch. The clutch centers are a little difficult on these bikes, and you have to make sure you get the chain alignment right. Otherwise, you can wind up with issues too. Maybe I'll do a video on, if anybody even cares or looks at this video, I'll do one on setting up the 4-spring clutch. Okay, thank you. Take care. Bye.